Welcome back to the webinar, everyone. We hope that you had a great lunch and were able to have some conversations at your local site. We're now going to move in to talk about marketing, and we're really excited to have Emily Black from Lone Mountain Farms in Athol, Idaho, talk today about marketing yourself and your farm in the new media. So I am stopping my share of my screen so that Emily can put up her slides. As I mentioned this morning, Emily's up in the Sandpoint site today. Great, we see your slides.
Okay, perfect. And it will just be a moment here. We are just finishing up our lunch in the Sandpoint area, but we have Emily coming to the microphone right now.
Great.
All right, thank you guys. I am Emily with Lone Mountain Farms, and I am here today to talk to you about marketing yourself in the age of new media. For those who don't know me, my husband Luke and I started farming in 2013. We're in Athol, Idaho, and we started with produce, and then we added hops and grains and laying hens, and we're now doing farm craft beer. So we have a handful of different enterprises on our farm, and professionally, both of us have been working full-time jobs and building our hobby farm into an actual career for ourselves. So I have just quit my job to do farming, and then my professional career was in marketing. So I am also teaching other farmers how to do marketing and how to show up for their customers and so forth. So I'm really excited to be here with you to talk about marketing a little bit. So before we get into kind of the how-tos, I wanted to go over what is marketing. And I consider marketing to be the bridge between you and the sale. So marketing is the journey that you're going through to build know, like, and trust with your future customers, because people buy from people and companies that they know, like, and trust. So this is your opportunity to expose yourself, your farm, what you're doing, and to be able to sell your products easier. So kind of that concept of the bridge is you're going to figure out who your customer is, and then craft the message that's going to resonate and connect with them. And then you're going to show up in the outlets or where your customer is, so you can build your brand awareness and get your product in front of them. So let's talk about your customer here first. Not everyone is going to be your customer. As a small farmer, typically our customers are local. However, if you're doing something unique and selling online, that could be a different case. Typically your customers are wanting something more organic. They're interested in health and nutrition. They're interested in supporting local and our farmers. So I want you to think about who you're talking to when you're crafting your message. So to kind of think about your customer and who you're talking to, if you're currently selling your products, I want you to think about your ideal customer that you currently have. So who is that person that you want to work with all the time because they're easy, they love what you do? Just start thinking about that person. If you haven't sold anything yet, or you're trying to figure out a new market, a new customer, I want you to think about who you want your customer to be. It could be a friend that you've been working with, a family member, or you can totally make this person up. So I want you to just start picturing one individual person. Is it a female? Is it a male? Is it a mom? Is it a full-time worker? And what do they believe? What are their values? And what problems do they have that you can solve with what you're growing and what you're offering? So for me, we have produce and I do a CSA. So as an example for that, my customer for the CSA is typically a mom, and she really values health and wants to make her own home-cooked meals for her family. She is strapped for time. I mean, being a full-time mom and maybe a career woman as well, she doesn't have a whole lot of time, but she does want to bring that health and local nutrition into the household. So with my CSA, I can craft my message to those specific points that matter to her. So she feels like I'm talking to her, that I know who she is, and she's going to relate with me, and I can build that trust with her a lot faster when I know who I'm talking to. And then with my CSA, I can package it, I can deliver it, and I can make sure that she doesn't have to decide what vegetables to be purchasing at the store, spending more time at the grocery store, because she doesn't have any more decision-making capacity. She is spent, and she doesn't want to spend all her time at the grocery store trying to figure out what to make. So I can help her out, save her time, and provide recipes that are kid-friendly, easy, and will still bring that nutrition to the table that she's really seeking. So by knowing your customer, you can craft that message and sell your product much more easily because they're connecting with you right out of the gate. And then you need to show up where they are. So I typically start online. Most of my customers are looking online for where to buy local. They're reading articles about going to the farmer's market, but some of them don't have time to go to the farmer's market. Then they're reading articles about CSAs. So maybe they're getting onto Google and they're searching local CSAs in my area. And I want to be one of the search results that comes up in front of her. I want to be online. I want to be right where she is. She might also be talking with her friends and they might recommend me. But to build that know, like, and trust, I need to be online so she can do her research. She can gain that confidence and trust in me before she wastes any more time in trying to seek me out or purchase from me. So that's kind of the important part about understanding your customer. And then we're going to get into those outlets. So where should you be to get that message in front of the customer? So if they do get onto Google and search those terms, what is going to come up? So Google is going to be searching SEO, so search engine optimization stuff, and that really has to do with your website. And I would recommend everybody to have just a very simple website. People are looking for you and they want to know who you are. And if you don't have a website, a lot of people don't think you exist. You're not real or trustworthy. So it's good to have a website. And Wix and Squarespace are two website builders that are super easy. They offer all of the tools that you would need to build and design out your website, host it. You don't have to go through all of those separate steps. So it's really easy to get something going. And then for a website, you do want to have your branding put together for that. So for your farm, you'll want to have a logo and then 3 to 5 colors. So people will see colors and relate that to a certain brand. Like when you're thinking of any big brands out there, they have these specific colors that you'll see and you can automatically recognize them. So colors goes into your branding. And then I would recommend having 2 different fonts. Just like this presentation slide, we have the header font And then we have the paragraph font. So they're two different fonts. And you don't have to get too crazy. You can go with the defaults. But those are things that kind of make up your branding and things to think about when you're building a website. For your pages, you can actually just have one homepage and have all the information on that. A lot of people are doing that now. It's kind of a new trend, just to have one page and have all the information on that. And one of the big reasons for that is because most people are searching on their phones. And on your phone, it's harder to go from page to page. You could just scroll and scroll and scroll, and just having one page for a website is very accommodating for that. Facebook has set the standard for the scroll, so people can just scroll through that one page and know everything about you. Super easy and simple and great for you. So I would recommend having all this information on that one page if you don't have separates. So you'll want the home page, which has like your main picture and a call to action, like, are you selling a CSA? Put that at the top. Are you selling hog shares? Put that at the top. So whatever you want to be selling or to be bringing bringing that awareness to them, put that at the top so they know right off the bat. And then as they scroll down, you can talk about who you are, why you're farming. They want to connect with you as a person. So definitely put all of the information that you need to connect with your audience. And then have the contact information. So if they do have questions, make it really easy for them to connect with you and answer those questions for them. And then I would recommend having products on there that they can purchase. So if you're doing a CSA, enable them to be purchasing right through the website. Don't make them email you. It's just another barrier to that end sale. So try to make it really easy with having an online shopping cart. Or if you don't have that available, then just list out everywhere they can get it. So they need to be aware of where they can get it and make it easy for them to purchase from you. That's kind of the information. They need to know who you are, what you offer, and how you can help them and how you can contact them as well. I do recommend having a sign-up form. So these people are really interested in you. They want to potentially be purchasing from you, whether they're ready to purchase or not. These are hot leads where they are on your site and you want to be capturing their email so you can continue building a relationship with them. Because if they don't purchase, then they might forget about you. Whereas if they sign up for your email list, you can be building that relationship with them and bringing them more information, maybe new products that are solving a different problem for them and meeting their need, and then they'll be ready to purchase. So it's good to have that email as well, so you can keep building that relationship and getting to know who they are and what they need. And then the last thing on your website is to have your social media links. So that's just another level of the transparency, because social media is probably going to be a little bit more fresh than your website. On your daily fun things that are happening on the farm, you can bring them along the journey with you a lot better on social media than a website. So that would be another component to make sure is there. So let's talk about the email a little bit more. So the email is really building the connection with your interested audience. And it's also to keep your customers. So the customers who do purchase from you, you can keep talking with them and letting them know what else you have available, and asking them questions, surveys, how you can help them more. So it's a good relationship building tool. And there's two different platforms that I'd recommend. There's a lot of options out there, but these two seem to be pretty stable and really easy to use. So that's MailerLite or MailChimp. And in both of those, you just set up a template, add your logo and branding again, and then there are going to be two different audiences that you can kind of captivate and segment. So through your audiences, it's usually labeled an audience. You can have a list for your customers and then a list for your leads, or just the people who are interested in you and haven't purchased yet. And it's good to have those two different lists that you can email to separately, because I actually communicate to my customers differently than I would to somebody who's never purchased from me. So my messaging is different depending on who I'm talking to. So my leads who don't know anything about me or my CSA, I'm going to give them a lot more information, kind of do a lot more hand-holding through the process, and maybe email them more than I would my customers who already know about the CSA. And I can give my customers a discount code to return, and which I wouldn't typically do for a lead or a new customer when I'm doing kind of my launch. So that's why I have two different audiences. So you can kind of talk to them differently depending on your message that you have going out. And then for your email, I do recommend choosing a frequency and staying consistent with it. So the minimum I would recommend is to email your audiences or those lists monthly. If it's less than that, people really do forget about you, and then you're going to wind up in spam, or they're not going to remember who you were and just unsubscribe. So I do recommend monthly, just to keep your brand and your offerings fresh. And you can just be talking about what's going on the farm, just telling your story. It doesn't have to be selling through these emails. It's building a relationship and showing up at a monthly basis. Or if you're at the farmer's market, or you have products that are, you're cycling through, you can email weekly. So I will email weekly typically, because we have different beers that we're coming on with. We have different produce. I let them know what we're going to be bringing to the farmer's market. So I want to make sure that they're aware of everything that we have available, so they can come out and get it if they're interested. And then for the social media, Facebook and Instagram, they are both owned by Facebook. They're the top social media platforms, and your customers are pretty much going to be on both of them. So you can choose one, or you can choose both, depending on how comfortable you are. But I do recommend making a business page, because it offers insights. You can track how well your posts are doing and who's seeing it. And there's a lot of other benefits with reviews and so forth on Facebook and such. So the business pages give you more opportunity to connect with your customers. And then you can also be found through Google search. So when somebody's searching for you, specifically your farm, that will come up through Google, versus a personal page will not. And then I recommend kind of taking your customers on a journey with you on social. So pick 3 to 5 topics that kind of make up your story, your farm story, and kind of stick with those. So we talk about produce, grains, chickens, beer, and us. And we kind of stay on those topics and not get too far off, because then that gets into more personal territory that our customers aren't connecting with, and they, unfollow or something like that. So I try to stick to the farm story and anything about us that relates to the farming. And then for your marketing materials, I actually use a program. It's just an online web-based program called Canva. So canva.com, and that is perfect. It's free, and you can put all of your marketing graphics together, whether they're social media graphics or your business card or a rack card or flyers. You really can't go wrong going through canva.com. They give you a lot of templates, so even though you're not a designer, it looks like you're a designer. You can put in your own pictures, and you can, if you buy their subscription, you can upload your own branding, fonts, and get really organized and so forth in there. But Canva is great for creating all of your marketing materials, and I do recommend having your business cards to hand out to any event that you go to, farmers market, and so forth, just to build your awareness. And then the last thing is the farmers market. So kind of getting offline into the real world. Here are two examples of booths. There are so many out there that are awesome looking, but these are two kind of small ones that I wanted to bring up. The one on the far side there is my husband, that's Luke, and that's our farmers market booth. So we just have a table. We have a tablecloth over it, and then it's going down to the floor because that's our storage underneath the table. So we hide everything with that tablecloth that we just bought off of Amazon. And it kind of goes into like interior design where layering and accessorizing your farm booth actually makes it more enticing for people to come in because it's warm, and I don't know, there's some sort of design science behind it. So we have the tablecloth, we have the runner, and then we have different bins that are different textures to represent different things. So we have our flour with the wooden bin there, and then we have our produce in the middle with wire rack bins, and then we have the beer on the end. And everything is labeled very clearly. It's good to have strong labels of what it is and then the pricing. So people don't have to feel like they have to come into your booth to see what it is. They can walk by and kind of glance and feel comfortable at a distance as well. With our signage, we have a separate sign on the side with our farm craft beer and what's available. And that has actually brought in a lot of people. Having just that separate signage is another layer and another kind of grab. And then our farm logo is hanging in the back. It's eye level, and then nobody can really be standing in front of it. So this other picture, there's a logo on the table. And so when anybody's up at the booth, it's going to be covered. So if you don't have an opportunity to hang your sign above, definitely put it on the table, but just know people are going to be covering it up and not seeing who you are in the branding. So it's great to have it above the booth or above the table. And then the other one, I really like how everything is so full. So having a small table when you don't have a whole lot of produce is great because it looks like it's full. And people buy from the booths that look full. People want to make sure that they're getting the quality, the cream of the crop instead of the leftovers. So when there's hardly anything left, people tend to walk by unless they know you and know that it's still going to be awesome quality produce. So bring more produce to the farm stand or farmer's market than you anticipate to sell. I hear from a lot of people that you're going to take home 30% or more when you start out. So don't feel bad that you're taking stuff home. People just make sure it's full and looks vibrant, and that's the best way to start. And I think Diane has some more experience than I on how much to sell there, but that's what I have heard through our market. All right, so type in any questions that you have for me, and I can be reached at a couple different places. So Lone Mountain Farms is my farm, and we're on Facebook, Instagram, or our website is lonemountainfarms.com. And then for any marketing, so I help farmers in their marketing through online training classes. And my business is just my name, Emily Black. So you can find me through Facebook at Emily Black or M_Black on Instagram. My website is actually a little different because Emily Black was already taken. So my website is cultivatingyourmarket.com. And through my website, you can find different blog posts, resources to help you in your marketing. And then I have an online class to help you with social media and how to use that for your marketing. And then I'm coming out with a simple website workshop as well. So definitely get on there and sign up for my newsletter, and I'll be in touch with you as well.
Great. Thank you, Emily. That was a great presentation. We already have some questions coming in. Our first question is, how do you prevent the MailChimp from going into people's junk mail? Do they need to click on something in the email to stay in the inbox?
Yeah, for the spam, I know with like Gmail, there's a promotions tab and it will fall into the promotions tab quite a bit. And that's not necessarily spam or junk, but a lot of people don't check it. So if you do know your audience and who they are, if they add your email address to their contacts, that whitelists you. So you'll be coming into the inbox. But if you don't know who you're talking to and you can't tell them to, add your email to their contact list, that's kind of why I added that mailer light, because I do hear that mailer light doesn't end up in that promotions or spam quite as much as MailChimp, because MailChimp is so big, it has a lot of not very reputable people sending emails. So that's kind of why it ends up out of sight.
Okay, thank you. We have another question, and that is, what do you use to create your logo?
Well, my husband created our logo, and I think he used Adobe Photoshop. I myself am not great with branding. I see ideas and I create a Pinterest board of everything that I'm really interested in, and they all look different. So I'm never sure like how to pick what my brand should be. So I know that there's some people have used 99 Designs. And 99 Designs has actual designers that you will share your information with, let them know what you're going for, and they'll send you back different ideas, and then you can pick whichever one you'd like, and then you pay. I think if you like it, then you'll actually pay for it. And then I actually, for my Emily Black kind of logo, I contacted a designer just through one of my Facebook groups. I'm in a lot of different like business Facebook groups, and I said, hey, could anybody do this for me? And somebody was starting out. They helped me out for a good price. But yeah, I paid for my Emily Black one. Otherwise, you can get onto Canva. You can definitely, they have a logo section. So you can try Canva out if you want to do it on a free platform.
Okay, great. Thank you. I just wanted to check in with Ariel and make sure that your site didn't have any questions, Ariel, because I don't see them in the chat or the question, but just double checking on that.
We are good. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you. Well, we don't have any other questions, Emily. Thank you so much for your presentation. And if you'll stop sharing your screen, then we'll go ahead and look at what is next.
All right, thanks so much.
Yes, thank you. It was a great presentation. I always learn a lot every time I talk to you about social media and what the different options are. I really appreciate your sharing your professional experience with us and how you've applied that to your farm. Next, at your local site, you're moving into your number 3 activity, which is marketing your farm. So you'll get to spend some time thinking about how you want to do that. And then we are going to reconvene on the webinar for our last presentations at 2 p.m. Pacific or 3 o'clock Mountain. So enjoy your half an hour talking about your farm, figuring out your marketing options and what you want to explore. And we'll reconnect at 2 o'clock p.m. Pacific, 3 o'clock Mountain.